few minutes.
Dr. Rosenberg.
Yeah.
For your mind,
You're tired.
Mishnah says,
You're tired.
for your mind.
They're working you too much?
No.
For your mind, Gudalti Berachachomim, where Matzosi Tevagu Mishtike. I was raised only between wise men, between the sages, and I didn't find an asset, a greater asset, something more beneficial for a human being than silence, being silent. And it's not what you preach, it's what you practice. That is the main thing is the maise, what comes out from it. It was in Baranovich, famous yeshiva, Baranovich yeshiva. Rabbi Elchonon was Rosh Yeshiva, and there was a crisis in yeshiva there. They didn't have funds, and very serious financial crisis. There wasn't what to stock the pantries with. The students were starving; they didn't have what to eat. So the Rosh Yeshiva of Elchonon, who was they told him that they don't have what to serve. So he took and he closed up his Talmud, his Gemara, and he was getting ready to say it's a literal lecture here, and he went into one of the storekeepers in town. He said to him, "There's this very serious financial crisis." He said, "We haven't got what to serve the students. They're starving. I closed up my business. I closed up my Gemara. You close up your business, close up your store. We have to go out together to raise money." There's nothing that works better and more greater assets than silence can sometimes accomplish much more than all the oratory and all the eloquence in the world. And there was Hordenker. He was in a Rov in a town, and an unfortunate widow was suffering poverty in the extreme. So she came running to him. She said, "Rabbi," she says, "my landlord, he's a murderer." He said, "I didn't have what to pay the rent with, and I was struggling, trying to see where I could get help from, and I just didn't have it. So he warned me once, warned me twice that he's going to dispossess me unless I pay the rent." And I told him, I'm trying. And then finally, he said, now it's winter, and it's freezing cold outside, there's snow. So he took, like cold-blooded murder, he took it and removed the roof from my house. He said, it's so bitter cold. He says, we can't live there. Also, there came to him someone who the bank was foreclosing. Also, an unfortunate widow came to him, and the bank was foreclosing. So he went and knocked on the banker's door. It was a Jew. So he said, "Oh, Rebbe, how are you?" He said, "Fine." Fine. He said, "Can I come in?" He said, "Certainly." He said, "Take a seat." He sits down. So he sits, and he's waiting. The banker's waiting for him to begin the conversation, tell him what he came for. He's quiet. He sits a minute or two. He says, "What did you come for? What can I help you with?" He said, "I can't tell you." He said, "Why can't you tell me? Why did you come?" He said, "Because it's written that kishem, just like it's the right thing to do, it's a mitzvah to mention something, to bring up something that people will follow and they'll adhere to listen to you. It's just as great a mitzvah to be silent if you know it won't bring results. I'll appreciate it." So he says, "I know that what I'm going to ask you to do, you won't listen to me. So I'm following the advice of the Talmud when I'm quiet. So this, of course, raises his curiosity. So he said, but you came, what? I can't. You won't listen. After opportunity, once and twice, 3 times, he said, all right. He said, I'll tell you what it is, but I know you won't listen anyway. He said, you're holding the mortgage on this important woman's house. She hasn't got the means to pay the mortgage. And you want to throw her out in the street? She with her orphans? I said, you're heartless. He says, Rebbe, what can I do? It's bank policy. I can't. So I told you that I don't want to tell you why I'm coming, because I know you wouldn't listen. Of course, he accomplished with the silence much more than he would have accomplished had he spoken. My dean, my Rashiv of blessed memory, he was in Israel, and he went to see the Mir Mashgiach of Chazkel. Mashgiach of Mir Mashgiach of Ponevish. He came to see him. He wanted to discuss him, ask him his chavazas, his opinion on a very pressing problem. So the Mir Mashgiach of Chazkel is sitting there, with his hands folded, and my Rosh Hashiva is presenting the problem, and the Chazkel is listening, and he tells him all the different sides of the dilemma, the mevuchim, and Chazkel is completely silent. He's sitting there like a mashgiach. He's rubbing his hands, one hand against the other, doesn't say one word. The more he's silent, the more my Rosh Hashiva becomes more vociferous. He begins talking more and more. He doesn't ask him to clarify any point whatsoever of the dilemma. Then finally, after a time, he continued talking. So he turns to him. Rabbi Chazkel says to him, "I wonder, are you finished yet?" So he says, "Yes, I'm finished." You couldn't understand what kind of question is that. Here's a pressing problem. That's why you finished yet. I want to ask you one thing. That happened to be my Motzei Shvius. And it's brought down that it's one of the times, it's very opportune for Mashiach to come. So he says, a time like this here, he said, we have so much work. It's been the Chevli Mashiach, what a person is going to be tested and endure, but when you arrive on Mashiach, so he says, I have so much work to do. My mind and my heart is so preoccupied. I have to prepare myself to greet Mashiach. And the way he tells me, my Rosh Hashiva Gustman, he said he himself was planning to fly back to America in 2 days. And here, the Mashgiach is talking about greeting Mashiach. He said even though he thought that he was all prepared for his trip, his flight back to America, but it seemed to him the way the Mashiach was speaking about greeting Mashiach, he was more prepared to greet Mashiach than he was to fly back to America. So he says, let me ask you, at a time like this, when we have so much work, we have to prepare our minds and our hearts and our conduct, prepare ourselves to be pure enough to receive Mashiach. How at a time like this can you think about something as trivial as that? And it wasn't anything trivial. As Yisrael, the people of Himlam, Mitzvah, Shemar, Admei Chavis Man.